This is the entrance to the old Jewish quarter of Riga, and also the place where the great synagogue was built on the corner of two streets. 150 years ago, the great synagogue on Gogola Street was constructed, and these are symbolic ruins of the synagogue. Why symbolic? Because it was destroyed during the Second World War, it was burned down, and the place was flattened. And after the war, here was just a simple square, and only in 1993, Jewish community of Riga got the permission to make the excavations, and they decided to build a memorial in the shape of the ruins of the synagogue. So this is a built-up memorial in honor of the destroyed synagogue, and also in honor of over 400 people who were burned down inside the synagogue on July 4th, 1941. The wall of the righteous gentile. You see, it's a white leaning wall, and there are legs who support the wall from collapsing, and on the legs there are 250 names of Latvians, righteous gentile or righteous among the nations, who saved Jews during the Holocaust. Altogether in Latvia there are over 400 or even close to 500 righteous gentile people who saved Jews during the Holocaust. And there is also a story of Jānis Žanis Lipke, who became a symbol of righteous gentile in Latvia, and we'll make a separate episode about Jānis himself. We are in Maskavas forschtadt, the suburb of Riga, or former suburb of Riga, by the name of Moscow city. This is a direction to go to Moscow. This is east from Riga, exactly east. So in the suburb of Moscow there were two ethnic groups living. The Jews, they lived here close to Moscow Street, and the Russian population of Riga, they lived there. So this is quite an old neighborhood with a lot of history and heritage. And this big 6-floor building was built in 1924 by the Jewish charity organization Bikur Holim, or visiting the sick, which this charity organization was visiting Jewish people, was helping Jewish sick people who were in need and who couldn't afford themselves treatments in private hospitals. So later on, this charity organization collected funds and built a hospital. In the beginning, it was a hospital of 3 departments with about 50 beds, and later on it developed into 5 departments and 194 beds, and it was one of the biggest hospitals in Riga. During the Soviet Union, this hospital was just one of the hospitals of the city, and in 1992, when Latvia was already an independent state, one of the doctors, Professor Anatoly Bluger, initiated to rename the hospital, to give the hospital its original name, and since then, since 1992, it's called Bikur Holim by its authentic Jewish name. We are on the old Jewish cemetery, on the first Jewish cemetery in Riga. It was first time mentioned in early 1700s. The Jewish community in Riga was mentioned a little bit earlier, and the cemetery existed from 1725 up until 1941. In 1941, Nazis ordered destruction of the cemetery. They burned down the building of the Burial Society, and the stones were stolen, reused for construction, but we can still see here and there some stones on the ground. In the Soviet period, this area was turned into a park of stone sculptures, and the theme of the sculptures was communist party, communist brigades, something like that. It's even hard to translate. And in 1993, Jewish community of Riga initiated removal of the stone art from the former cemetery, and they also got a permission to name this short street Ebreu. Ebreu means Jewish in Latvian language. So a former cemetery, now a park, still is a park, looks like a park with few memorials. The one we saw in the beginning, and another memorial, the newer one, was erected not so long ago in honor of a group of women from Hungary who were sent here by train and were perished in Latvia. So here we will see the memorial. You see the two standing women, and the inscription says in honor of Hungarian Jewish women who were perished here. We are at the memorial in Rumbula forest. Rumbula is a small neighborhood, small village, not far from Riga, and next to the village, Nazis chose a location for the extermination of close to 30,000 Jews from Riga and some European countries. Here are few mass graves. This is one of them with a big stone on top of it, and in the center of the memorial, as you could see, there is a menorah and stones like in the cemetery. And in 6 pits, Nazis and their local accomplices exterminated close to 30,000 Jews, and this happened actually in 3-4 days. 2 days in 1941, late 1941, and another 2-3 days in 1944. So this is one of the most terrible places of mass murder in Latvia. There are tens, maybe even hundreds of other places, but Rumbula is one of the biggest places of an extermination.